Hi YouTube friends, it's Trish here and welcome to my little corner of the internet. And today we're talking Bachelor week 7. I'm pretty sure it's week 7. If not, I'll correct it. I feel like this video is actually going to be leaning more commentary and less recap-ish. It already wasn't really much of a recap, but it also wasn't just not. But I just feel like this episode, so many things happened that I have thoughts on, or really it's not so many things, but it's just interesting, and I kind of see both sides of a lot of things, so I feel like I'm going to be talking more on that and less on sort of like scene by scene what ends up happening. So just a general overview, there are 6 ladies, only 6. When did that happen? Where did everyone go? Like, I feel like this came on so suddenly, and maybe it's because leading up to this, I felt like all 6 of these women had really strong connections with Joey because he just I feel like with each girl, it was just so unreal. You couldn't really pinpoint if there was anyone that was really stronger than the next girl. And I don't know, like, do we think compartmentalizing each relationship is a good thing or a bad thing? Because I feel like when you're going through the journey, it would be a good thing because you're really giving your full effort into each relationship. But then at the end, or when we're nearing the end, it's just like, okay, but I have really strong relationships with each of these women who am like, I feel like you're splitting hair at that point, right? So anyway, this was, it just boggled my mind to start the episode. I'm like, oh my god, there's only 6 women. And it just, you weren't really sure. I had a few, like, maybe 4 or 5. But I was like, oh, they're for sure gonna get the rose. So anyway, they're in Jasper, Canada. And there's gonna be 2 one-on-one dates and a group date. And the first one-on-one date goes to Daisy, and the middle part was a group date, and then the second one-on-one went to Kelsey A. And sort of the highlights about that was, I mean, they all wanted to have the one-on-one, let's be real, but Jen especially really wanted a one-on-one before going into hometowns because their one-on-one was really early in the season, right? So it made sense that Daisy got a one-on-one because hers was the very first one. Pretty sure Jen was the second one. So it's been a long time since it's just been them two. And even though she's been making an effort to have these moments on each of the group dates, it still was like, oh, it would have been really nice to just have undivided attention for an entire day before going into hometowns. So I know she struggled with that a lot. Maria is struggling and will continue to struggle. This episode, Maria kind of spirals a little bit. And for her, it's, she had a one-on-one, I think, last week. And so coming off the heels of a one-on-one time and really having that like time to connect and get really close, now it's realizing, wow, I have real feelings here, genuine feelings here, and I'm not the only one. Oof. Okay, so real quickly, Daisy's one-on-one goes swimmingly. Her main thing was in the nighttime portion, she brings up that she isn't there yet. Like, she's not really falling in love yet, but she sees the potential of being able to get there with him. But she wanted to be honest with him that this is where she's at right now. And he really takes this conversation quite well, considering that's sort of his fears, I guess. But you know, it was really, as we've been echoing every episode, he's really good with communication. And so he's like, I hear you. Like, I hear where you're at. I understand that. My only, like, question or concern is how confident are you with me meeting your family despite you not being there yet, but, like, potentially could see it down the road. And hearing that really reassured her. And like they go on, she gets the rose and they're going to play hockey one on one, I guess. Actually real cute moment. They're like kissing and she drops her stick and then he like drops his stick. I was like, wow, that's so cute. But anyway, and in an ITM, she's like, I think this is happening. Like she's beginning to fall. So check. And then the group date happens, and it's very sort of, we're gonna use our muscles. And so they meet a lumberjill who teaches them how to deal with an axe, throw an axe, hack at wood, saw wood, all the things. And they do like a mini little tournament, and Maria very much struggles over here, and she's not only mentally struggling, she's also like physically just not able to really do the stuff. And I think she like it's frustrating her a little bit, but really she's still being a great sport about it and going through and just doing it. But in her ITMs, she's just like thinking about the other girls over there, and she doesn't want to be around with the other girls. But it's not coming off as I don't know how I want to say this. It's the way you're hearing her talk, she's so invested. Like her feelings are so there that it is hurtful to be around the other girls and know that they are having similar feelings and that it could be reciprocated, basically. So she has a difficult time, but then they go into the evening portion, and let's see, I should probably open my notes actually for this one. Oh, one part during the day portion that I found kind of funny, like as Jen does, she's really good at making a moment each group date. And this time what she did is sort of run up to him and kiss him while he was doing an ITM. And the other ladies are like, cool, great, didn't want to see that. Like, it's right in my face. But Maria goes, did they forget that I have an axe? I thought that was so funny. Because she still like uses humor even when she's kind of upset. But she looks away and she just doesn't want to see that. But it's not helping her situation. And like Jen was making her like a moment, and I get it from the other girls, but I also get it from Jen's point of view. I don't think anyone's really in the wrong over here. So Jen is nervous about the hometown without having more one-on-one time, and her other side of the nerves stems from she's got these two different cultures because she's Vietnamese, but born and raised in the States, I'm assuming anyway. At least possibly raised mostly in the States, because I can't speak for Jen, but I had a similar like I'm first generation American born, so like born and raised in the States, but with parents that come from deep rooted cultures. And so you're brought up at home where there's like this deep rooted culture and there's all these traditions, and you respect that and you love that, but you also are brought up in the Western world where it's all very like individualistic, and things just run very differently, and you kind of balance the two sides as best as you can. Some of us go through like personality like crises in high school, but it's just it's a fears, and I think she knows that her mother is going to have a hard time understanding this process. Hell, my like anyway, Kelsey T's dad doesn't know that she's on this. And she talks about how, I mean, her dad wants what's best for her, but the thing is they sometimes don't see eye to eye on what is best for her. So like she may have ideas of something else that's best for her than he does. Uh, totally get that too. Because it's not just different cultures, it's also different generations. And the the things that were on the top of the list for our parents of we gotta get these, we gotta accomplish these, we gotta hit these points, are just not the things that we have as the top of our, like, high on our priority list. So man, those conversations. And Maria is just sort of spiraling in her ITMs just continuously because she's really struggling with the idea of continuing on. I mean, not only just bringing this guy home to meet her family, knowing that she isn't the only one. And she talks over here about how she knows what she signed up for, but now her feelings are real and she wants him to be hers and she wants to feel chosen, even though like this is Joey and his journey and he wants to feel chosen, he should feel chosen, she still also wants to feel chosen. And that's like the energy that we see her going into her one-on-one time with Joey. So this was interesting. It was the first time that I wasn't all the way stoked about how Joey handled the conversation, but I rewinded it and watched it again and continued it because at one point I paused and I'm like, because she had gotten up and so okay, getting ahead of myself. They start the conversation and she kind of is immediately sort of going into that this is difficult and this is hard for her and she's thinking she's gonna go. So I mean that is sort of like, whoa, now, like a lot, oh my god, I can't speak today, but like a lot to hear just as they're sitting down. I think she says that this is just really difficult for her to see his connections with other people, and like she saw Jen kiss him and she just, believe it was the can't imagine bringing him to meet her family, knowing that like how he is with the other girls. Yeah, her fear is going through all of this and not ending up together in the end. His fear is this process not working for him, but also that the right person possibly couldn't see themselves doing this in this way. I just found that being an interesting fear to have. Sort of like, would my right person be someone who is like not up for this process of finding each other? At least that's how I took that. So I found that an interesting thought to have had. But yeah, she can't really do it anymore, thinking that he might have connections similar to theirs or even better than theirs. Joey tells her that like he doesn't want to pull it from her or force it. And I was just trying to make sure I'm getting the order right. But yeah, so like he doesn't want to pull it or force it out of her, but he wants to be chosen, and his logical brain understands, but like his heart doesn't. So he's having a tough time with this. And there's sort of a pause and he's like, so is this it? Like, is your mind made up? Because it feels like it might be. Because the way she's having the conversation, she's not really looking at him. She's sort of sitting diagonally and looking out mostly, or down mostly, which I also totally get because I'm terrible with keeping eye contact with people when I am doing the talking. When they're doing the talking, I'm zeroed in. I am like looking you in the eye. I'm nodding to let you know that I'm listening to you, I'm comprehending and understanding, but when I am doing the talking, I look everywhere but at the person. So I totally get that. It's just, you feel like you can keep your thoughts, I guess, more organize and get everything out. I don't know what it is, but it was just, I get his side because what he's seen and the words coming out of her mouth, it really does make it apparent that that's it. I also thought that that was it. Um, and she even says over there, she sort of like says it very quietly that she thinks so, like this is it. Um, but then she kind of says more so to herself that she hates this. And she gets up and she walks away and she goes to this room and you hear him talking with a producer and he's like I'm not going to put in, I guess, the effort if she's just going to go. I think he used different words, but that was the sentiment I got out of that, where, and I did kind of understand. I'm gonna be honest though, on first watch I was like, Joey, go, like, you like her, she likes you, she's struggling, she wants reassurance from you, and you're just sort of like, okay, hard to hear. My head gets it, my heart doesn't, but sounds like you're done. Oh. So I was just, in first watch, I'm like, get up, go in the room, give her a hug, hold her, and say, I don't want you to go. But if you want to go, I'm not gonna stop you. Which I understand still sounds horrible. Like, us ladies, I mean, of course we want a romantic moment. So it's just sort of like, tell me that you couldn't live without me. Or whatever. But he also, I understand his side, like he just wants to be respectful, and if someone has made up their, kind of like earlier in the season, although that was what, second night or something like that, was her name Laura or Lauren, I can't remember, one of the older sister decided to leave, and he was like, okay, seems like you've made up your mind, and he like let her go. But over here, with so much time that has been spent together, and especially after the one-on-one and how like connected you guys got over there, I'm a little surprised that he didn't get up and go talk to her, or at least like hold her. Sometimes it's not even hearing words, it's just a feeling. And like before she came back and started talking, he kind of seemed, I don't want to say no emotion, but it definitely didn't feel like it was killing him that she was saying that she was gonna go. It didn't feel like he was really sad about it. It was more so that he was dejected, I think, which is still an emotion, which is why like on watching it again and even thinking about it and really putting myself in his position, I can understand. Like, here's this girl, you had this great one-on-one time, you really feel close to her, and she's telling you that she's struggling to see you connecting with the other girls and wants to leave. And yeah, there is a little part of you that's like, am I not good enough for you to tough it out? Essentially, like, I know it sucks, but it is the name of the game. As she had said, like, I know what I signed up for. Knowing what you sign up for and being there is completely two different things. I think we've heard it countless times from a lot of past contestants that it's like, yeah, you know what you're signing up for, but then you're there. And it's just like, it's a completely different ballpark, and I can totally understand that. So anyway, my point is, I kind of understand. Oh my god, I can't speak words today. I understood both sides over here. I felt so much for Maria, and when she came back, and it almost felt like she was backtracking a little bit the conversation, which was hard to see. Like, she, I think at that moment was scared of losing him, and I guess she did some thinking and was like, well, she doesn't actually want to go. And now she's scared that he's gonna think that she's not in this, that she's not willing to put in the effort. I kind of wish like he could see some of her ITMs, because I don't think she was able to all the way articulate it to him like she did when she was just sort of thinking out loud or like talking with the producer, because she was saying that, although I think he still got it because of how he was speaking in his ITMs later, but what she's saying, what he's saying, or what she's saying is that she feels so much for him, and it would be devastating to go all the way to put herself through all of this and not be the one to end up with him at the end. And before that, she's having to introduce him to her family, knowing that there are other women. This happens every season, right? There's always one girl at least, or on the girl side, there's always one guy at least that feels this. And he, at one point, when he's pacing before going in for the end of the night to give out a group date rose, he's like, you know, the other ladies are so reassuring and they are so confident that they are in this and they are sticking it through and like they're here and present. But maybe she is the real one for actually like having these fears and these doubts. I just found it so interesting, I guess. It's just because I don't see the other girls as not being in it. It's just, it's two different pathways, and people are going to approach things and process things in different ways, and not one is right and the other wrong, right? It's just, it just sucks. All around, it just sucks, and all you can do is the best that you can do and vocalize like your emotions and how you're feeling. So when she comes back and she's apologizing and she's like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that, I just like, I'm sorry that like I just have to think out loud sometimes and that just all happened. And like there he was like, it's okay, I know this about you, I love this about you, like you're one to think out loud and you kind of get in these, you know, whatever. So it's another moment of showing that he does recognize things about her. And yeah, I don't know, it was a hard watch, but it was a real moment. So yeah, he ended up not giving out the group date rose, and I get it, and I agreed. It's just like, after all the one-on-one times that you had that night, you need time to process. This is one of 4 roses. You've already given one to Daisy, you're probably going to give one to Kelsey, so it's really 2 roses, and you want to make sure that you are giving it to the 2 other people that you definitely want to move forward with. And it's a tough decision, so. But I also get Jen in that she was like, you know, I wanted him to know, and I wanted him to know that it was me. Like, we all just want to feel special, and we all are special to somebody. So yeah, that was a group date. So Kelsey A's one-on-one time. They're exploring Jasper. It's all so cute. They're looking at souvenirs. They're eating snacks and drinking cocoa. It's really funny because at one point Joey's like, when's the last time you had a cocoa? And Kelsey A's like, yesterday. And I'm just like, y'all are in Canada. Probably this morning. Like, I would be having hot cocoa probably at every meal. But anyway, so that was really cute. And they get roped into doing the polar bear plunge, which is apparently something Kelsey A really wanted to do and was considering even just jumping in the lake near where they're staying just to like have the experience. So would I do the polar bear plunge? I think so. I think if I were traveling over there with a group of friends that wanted to do it, I'd do it. Would I actively go out of my way to wanting to do it? No. But I'd do it. So anyway, during their night portion, I was kind of wondering where the conversation would end up going. So it was sweet though. It was really nice. She opens up about her relationship with her father and how when she was younger, she actually didn't have that much of a relationship because he was very busy. But then when her mom got sick and when her mom passed away, it was the hardest time for all of them as a family. But now looking back, she thinks about how he had just lost the love of his life and now had 5 kids who were also grieving. Like, he didn't have the time to really possibly grieve. I mean, she didn't say this, but I'm kind of like wondering if that's where she's thinking on. Like, the love of his life passed away, but he can't really break down and just lose it because he has these 5 children who just lost their mother to take care of. So it sounds like he really stepped it up and they grew a closer relationship from that time on. And yeah, that was really lovely. And she actually then asked him about his dad and like what his thoughts were on this process, which I thought was really nice. I was like, wow, it's so nice to now see a question asked back and like, let's hear about you also, you know? It's not just one-sided. At least, like, I'm sure this is actually happening and we just don't see it, right? I hope so, anyway. Yeah, he's like, yeah, my dad's like really excited for me. He's supportive, but he also knows that I tend to get in my head and like overthink and worry and all of this kind of stuff. And she then opens up about how that's her biggest fear, that if she's the last one and she is at the end, will he be 100% sure that it is her? And he reassures her, telling her that if I'm down on a knee, I'm 100% confident. So that was also reassuring for me to hear too. So they have a really nice, you know, just all over one-on-one date. In his ITM, he's like, he really feels a connection with her. He feels how much love that she has to give. And he also is the type of person that has a lot of love to give. So theirs was really cute. So they're all getting ready for the cocktail party and the ladies arrive and they sit down and Jesse comes out and says the cocktail party is not happening. And they're just going straight into a rose ceremony, and they are sad about it. I mean, Jen, Kelsey T, Maria, like they were hoping to have the last conversation to, I don't know, talk further. Like Maria really wanted to have the moment to be able to reassure him that she is here. She's ready to go on with this process and she will like see it through essentially. Yeah, and like Jen, Kelsey also wanted to talk to him, but he walks in and he says his piece. You know, they all say a piece before they're going to give the roses out. And he really does say like he knows that his wife is standing in that room. So I don't know how I would feel hearing that. Like, picture yourself being one of 6 ladies that's standing there. 2 people already have a rose cemented in to like go on to hometowns. We all have strong feelings for him because like we know that. And then understanding that he has strong feelings for all of us. And so it's just, he knows that his wife is in this room, but he doesn't know which one is his wife. I feel like that would be so hard to hear. Oof. Like, clearly he didn't say that last part. He just said, I know my wife is in this room. Which at the beginning of the season is so uplifting and encouraging, and it's like, oh, yay! But at this point in the game, I don't know if it's actually really all that reassuring to hear. I don't know. I've never been in that position, so I really don't know, but I don't know. Anyway, he pauses and then he asks Maria if they can talk. and they go off into a side room, and Rachel's pissed. She's like, I thought none of us were gonna get a chance to talk more. Like, what the fuck? And I understand because I also would be pissed, but I feel like in this episode, they tried to show moments of Rachel that weren't that great. Like at the beginning of the week when the group date rose came and Jen's name was the last name, so she was really heartbroken. And like she didn't say anything or emote drastically in a big way, but she did get up and walk out. And Rachel is just sort of like, okay, as she did that. And I was a little bit like, Rachel, she's hurt. It's been ages since she's had her one-on-one date. She's been on group date after group date after group date. She was hoping to get a one-on-one date this week. Her feelings are hurt. Like, why are you saying it like that? So like that sort of rubbed me the wrong way. And it harkened back to, I don't know if I said it in my video, but a long time ago when Maria had done that whole dress switcheroo and she was wearing a white corseted dress to begin the night with and then changed while she was talking to him into this like sleek black number bralette skirt situation, and then comes to sit with the girls and the girls are like, why'd you change? Over there in an ITM, Rachel kind of like low-key slut shamed Maria for this, because she was like, I mean, it's just not something I would do, which is like, okay, fine, like, but there's a way to say that I think wouldn't come off as you judging her for doing that, because that's sort of what it came off as, you know, because yeah, it's something I wouldn't do either, but you know, it's not that I think myself better or anything like that. Maria is bold and beautiful and amazing. I just like, even if I had the rocking body that she had, I don't think it was something that I could do. But damn, respect that you can do it. I mean, it's kind of like a don't hate the player, hate the game moment. And that like comment that Rachel made at that time really did sort of feel low key, that she was underhandedly sort of making a dig at Maria. And I don't know if that's how she meant it, but that's kind of how it came off. So the okay at the beginning of this episode towards Jen harkened like back to that, like the memory resurfaced for me. But at the end of this episode, when Maria gets pulled aside and she's like, what the fuck, that one I was just sort of like, I too would be like, what the fuck? Like we weren't gonna have a rose ceremony, so we weren't gonna, I mean, not a rose ceremony, we weren't gonna have a cocktail hour to chat any further, but he's pulling aside Maria to chat some more. Like, I would have liked to have a last conversation or another conversation. So anyway, over here I understood, but it was the other two instances that I was like, don't love that. But anyway, she didn't have to worry long because she got the first rose and Maria got the second one. And you know, Joey hugs Kelsey T goodbye and then hugs Jen goodbye. And I was a little surprised over here, I guess, that he didn't walk them out. I guess that happens in the final four. But I thought sometimes it happens over here as well. I'm not sure. I feel like Jen's gonna be the next Bachelorette. I feel like the way that they edited her episode, her time on this episode, and then hearing what she said in the limo out, or not limo, but the car out, and just being like, she knows that she's worthy of being a great partner and having a great partner, and she hopes to find someone as great as Joey one day. Like, I feel like she's gonna be the Bachelorette, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, that was week 7. I hope it really was week 7 because that's what I've been saying. feels good stretch. I sit with such bad posture. I should really like, anyway, why I'm talking about that. So yeah, I like the episode. It really did get tough, but I do feel like Joey and Maria had a real moment. I think that him knowing this about her is really promising, that she's someone that sort of just needs to think out loud sometimes. I understand his reaction to, you know, how she started off the conversation. I don't love it, but no discussion is going to be perfect, you know, and his feelings are just as valid as her feelings. And I just think in that moment, both of them wanted reassurance from the other. Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to. Like, both of them wanted reassurance from the other. And so that was a tough conversation to navigate because it's not happening either, you know, way. So we all just need to get better at vocalizing our emotions and our feelings and where we're at, and being like, no reflection of you. You've been great and fine, but this is where I'm at. Next week is hometowns. I'll be watching. I don't know if there's really anything else to say. So I hope you liked whatever this was, this discussion, conversation, recap-ish. And write in the comments. Tell me what you feel, what you think. And I'll see you next week, I guess, because that's about it. Toodles. Oh my god, that was... Forget that. Toodles.